Hi, I'm Ashman. I look after our corporate finance as well as our investor relations department. I'm from Fresh.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily Ling from Hibiscus Petroleum. I'm VP of Corporate Development looking at investor relations, comms and CSR for the group. I agree. Good news is easy to communicate. Bad news is where credibility is tested. In upstream oil and gas business, the weaker quarter does not necessarily mean that the underlying business has weakened. Results are affected by commodity prices, oil and gas sales timing, taxation adjustments, or planned maintenance also. What really matters is that we give the investors relevant context and also provide guidance at areas that we can control.
Yeah, I agree actually with the statement in terms of it's always easy to guide the investors or fund managers during good quarters actually. But during the tough quarter, it shows you how you have built your credibility from there, whereby in that quarter itself, there are situations that you cannot control. And you have to be honest with them and transparent. And to a certain extent also, you have to guide them with a tone that is cautiously optimistic. When we are talking about bad results, right, it's not always every time also we have weaker results on each quarter. There are some results that are quite good as well. And on the bad results, actually, we have to guide them very clearly what actually drives that in terms of that probably not all segments is driving the numbers that is badly. If I could give an example as well, maybe segmentally you are looking at maybe a division of that department actually contributes to a weaker than expected results, but also guide your investors in terms of what is performing well and also that is being holding the fort for the company. How about you?
So we try to explain 3 questions clearly. What happened? Does this change the longer term outlook? And what happens next? To explain what happened, we bring in our relevant business unit manager to come and provide first-hand operational context and to answer the questions to the investors directly. As we also provide full year guidance on key operational metrics such as production, sales volume, operating expenditure or capital expenditure, we also let them know whether this changes the outlook. It's also important to highlight if this is factors affecting the results quarters are also temporary or is it going to extend for a longer period of time. Right? So basically what we do is we actually explain the whole quarter, we connect it to the longer term outlook picture, and then we say whether we remain within the guidance or not. I feel we should always give the investors the bridge, not just the headline. They can always see the headline numbers themselves. So what I feel is like our role is to provide deeper insights into them, to tell them, okay, what are the factors affecting the results? Taxation, right? Is it operational performance? Is it the timing? Is it the prices? And from then, once the investors can reconcile the results by themselves, then the conversation becomes more informed and less driven by assumptions. So the second thing I feel is important is consistency of access. During times like, for example, we do not become less visible just because the external environment has become more difficult, right? In fact, we engage even more, right? So during this recent period of heightened geopolitical uncertainty, we actually we invited an industry expert to provide briefing to our investors independently on the sector outlook. Yeah, I suppose I'm hoping also that investors will remember that we remain accessible when the story was harder to tell.
For us, there are few kind of situations actually when we guide them in terms of what kind of best approach that we look at if let's say difficult situations on certain occasions or macroeconomic factors or geopolitical factors as well. Like for example, recently, what happened was that maybe it is in between quarters that the situation happened. So my group CFO as well as my group MD decided that to make a special session with the investors to explain to them what's happening. So perhaps if you might also encounter that we have maybe a shortage of milk in perhaps in local grocery stores and all that. Actually milk is already there, but it's just that due to some restrictions on resin, so we couldn't source plastic from our suppliers. So we have to guide our investors what actually is being going on, and then after that, what are some of the efforts actually that the management has really been taken.
So one continuing challenge is that to get the market to understand and assess a business that has no direct comparable listed peer in Malaysia. Hibiscus is an independent upstream producer that has several assets in various geographical jurisdictions. Each has its own operating and fiscal regime. And most of the local energy companies is operating at a different parts of the value chain. So this leads to us being viewed as an oil price proxy. Sometimes when the oil price rises, then some investors might actually feel that they have missed out on the opportunity. However, when it drops, the share price may react even before the underlying business is being reassessed. Yeah. So what I've learned over the years from doing IR is also that we cannot force a re-rating into existence. Perception is not changed by a single quarter or a good quarter or even a single presentation. It changes with consistent communication, backed by repeated delivery of project execution, production growth, shareholders' returns, cash generation. Right? So ultimately, evidence and execution are the most persuasive messages.
Yeah, for us, if I could also share recall some of the situation where the company faces some challenges as well, which can resonate with the oil sector as well, is on the commodity prices. So ours for commodity is on whole milk powder. So I recall back then, 2-3 years ago, our whole milk powder actually skyrocketed. And back then, the strategy is that to hedge this commodity in such a way that we lock that prices at a very optimal way that can maintain our margin. And honestly, it's been quite pressured since then, because they keep on asking in terms of how does the commodity actually, or the whole milk powder prices actually performing, because that eventually will translate into a margin and as well trickle down into the performance or the bottom line of the company. Now, the reality is that the commodity prices may fluctuate from time to time, and there are some seasons actually went up and there are some seasons actually went down. And we have to be honest also, not just commodity prices, but also we have, like for example, geopolitical factors as well that might interfere in terms of the company results. And we have to be honest in terms of explaining to our investors. Now, IR excellence can cover various areas, like for example, in terms of how you communicate well to your investment community. And not just that also, we have to also plan in terms of what kind of information we need to share with our investment community or externally as well. And that actually resonates with the values of the company. In Farm Fresh, actually, we are honest and also transparent in terms of guiding not just our consumers but also our wider stakeholders. And that translates into where my thoughts about IR excellence is about giving a balanced approach while cautiously optimistic not just the results as well, but also all the good things or not so good things that are happening in the company.
So to me, IR excellence is helping the market to understand and assess a company fairly, even if the investors decide not to own the shares in the end. What we need is to give them the full picture, timely and accessible information, explain risks as clearly as opportunities, and also to be able to give them relevant context all the time. IR cannot control whether the investors actually buy, hold or sell, or even how the share price moves. But what we can do is to enable the investors to be able to make well-informed decisions, and that to me is excellent IR.